Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking the that. It means a lot that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today we're talking about the winners and losers right now in the game. To me, I feel like there are two types of players at all times, and those are winners and losers. Obviously, a player can swap back and forth, but we're taking a snapshot right now at the final 10, right before this double boot episode. Who is in the best spots and who is in the worst spots? Who are the winners and who are the losers? And I think you'll be surprised. I have a few people who you may consider winners based on their edit or their likability to actually be losers, and vice versa. Again, if you haven't already, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really helps the channel out. Okay, so starting out with our first loser, to me, I think a clear loser here is Noelle. I think although she has some equity as far as her edit, as far as having a chance to win, I think when it comes to strategy, she's lost time and time again. Really, first with Justine going in that first episode. Now, she was lucky that they decided to flip on NECA, a move that I don't think was very smart of them. But in the end, it happened and it saved her, although she would have gone home at that vote if it weren't for that flip. And it was really not in her control at all. They only made that choice because they didn't want to lose every single challenge for the rest of the pre-merge. Then after that, at the merge, she first loses to White here, which I think is horrible. And then she also loses Janine, someone who I think she could have used. And by use, I mean exploit. I mean, I think Janine was in a tough spot. And I do think Noelle kind of related to her in a way, because Noelle had been there in the game where she had been completely on the bottom. And so she kind of connected with Janine, and she could have used that to make a big move. Instead, she failed to do so and let that opportunity kind of walk out the door. Switching back over to the winner's side, someone who I think has been winning as of late is James. I think James, again, him and Carla really have a stronghold on the game right now, not in the way in which they're in control. That's more of a Jesse and a Cody type of character. I think what they have is options, more options than really anybody else has, except for maybe Sami. I feel like they have choices and connections that nobody else has in the game. They can flip with the red tribe or the yellow tribe. They've also kept their threat level down, and on top of that, no one seems to be wanting them to go. It's more of the yellow and red tribes kind of targeting each other, which is very, very good for this blue tribe. And I think James is at the head of it. His kind of RELAX, like relax and chill game where he's not freaking out and just playing it cool, is really working. You know, he's very good at just sniffing out the BS. A great example being with Ellie, where he kind of just sniffed out the lies and then voted her out. It's very, very, very simple, but not a lot of people can do this effectively. So I think I have to give James his credit. Going back to the loser side, I think I have to put Ryan here, a player who's been actively pointed out for not playing the game at all. There's some like weird people who think like Ryan is just a sleeper to win the game, and I just think that's silly. I mean, like, there's always someone out there on the island every single season who thinks they're going to just play like Ozzy and catch fish and win the game, and that's just not how you win in this era. You have to adapt. Of course, the new era is kind of annoying in many different ways, but this is one of the ways that I don't mind, where this player never wins and never really has a shot to win. It isn't even a jury threat. To me, players like this are so boring to watch. Like, I'd rather watch a annoying game bot who at least makes moves and tries to play the game of Survivor, and not just the game of, like, you know, stranded on an island and I go make fire and catch fish. Like, that's not this era of Survivor. And I think Ryan right now is the definition of like a Survivor loser, someone who's being left out votes, who isn't really being told the plan, at least not immediately, and if he is, he's being used as a number, who is on the outs of his own tribe as far as that 4 goes, with Cassidy, James, and Carla. Doesn't have a number one ally, hasn't won in immunity challenge. To me, he's just not in a good spot here, like the utter definition of a loser on Survivor. Heading back over to the winner's side, we have Cody, a player who to me has kind of had everything. So he has the edit, he has the gameplay, And on top of that, his threat level is low and he can win a jury vote. He's probably the biggest jury threat at this point. I'm trying to think of anyone who can beat him. Maybe a Carla, maybe a Sami, but even then, that's also pretty close. He's also benefiting from having a male jury who we assume is not going to be as biased as far as like demographics go and voting for only POC players or only female players like we've seen in the past 2 seasons. You kind of have to assume here that we see the jury be less biased because there's more men, and it's more common for the females to be like, I'm only voting for a woman, I'm only voting for a POC. So hopefully we see that. And if that's the case, it's going to help Cody out because obviously in this new era, winning as a white male is like near impossible. But I'm looking at Cody's game. You know, he's gotten his way in several of these rounds, whether it's over other people who are against him, over his own alliance, or even over his own ally in Jesse, where he keeps getting his way. The best example was at this last vote where it was either get Janine out or get Ryan out. And he says, guys, let's just do the easy boot. Like, nobody really likes Janine. She has no friends, and it just solidifies our alliance. To me, that's very, very impressive that he was able to switch the votes back onto Janine after they were switched to Ryan. And so I think Cody right now is the definition of a winner, similar to how Ryan is the definition of a loser. And the last person that I'll mention is Sami. He's obviously a winner. To me, Sami has the complete game, very similar to Cody, except Cody, it's almost too good to be true, whereas in Sami, we've seen his flaws and his triumphs as well as more of his story. So with Sami, of course, he has the fantastic edit where he's the main character of the season. And although that can be dangerous for a fan favorite kind of boot around 7, 8, 6 area, it can also be a winner's edit. We've seen it happen in the past where the fan favorite turns into a winner. On top of that, I think he's in one of the better spots in the game where, again, similar to James and Carla, he has options. And on top of that, he has a #1 ally in Owen and Gabler, especially Gabler because Gabler's a GOAT, and that's fantastic in this new era. To have someone who you are guaranteed to beat at the end, it's so rare in this new era. You'd think like people like Erica and Marianne would be GOATs, but then again, they just go and win because the juries are kind of questionable in this new era. So to have someone who we all know is probably not going to win in Gabler, that's huge for his game. And then on top of that, of course, everyone likes Sami. Like there's no one who's like, oh my God, I hate that guy so much. He's so evil. It's just not the case. But what do you think? Who has been the LVP so far in this post merge and the MVP? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys. I'm just a weird guy speaking in a weird microphone. And if that's what, I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.